Joink. Beep beep. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to our special Hannibal Lecter episode. This is part 2 of our Silence of the Lambs Hannibal Lecter recap here. So part 1, we talked about all the main movies in order. We talked about Manhunter and the Silence of the Lambs, which leads right into Hannibal, which then leads, then there's the prequel Red Dragon, which came out afterwards, but it's a remake of Manhunter, so it's kind of a trilogy. That's the Hannibal Lecter trilogy, if you will. And Anthony Hopkins portrayed him in those 3 films, and then Brian Cox played him in Manhunter. So, we've talked about those. Now, we're going to talk about what came out after all of that stuff. So, we're going to fast forward to 2006. And that's when Hannibal Rising came out. And that, again, was based on the novel by Thomas Harris. And that one didn't get as much love as the rest of the novels in the franchise here. It's still, it's still fine. But the problem with the movie is that, first and foremost, I had always heard talks leading into this that Anthony Hopkins was somehow going to be involved again with this new Hannibal movie. And I was so excited about that because it seemed like a lot of time had passed. It had only been like, what, 4, 5 years? Not even. But it seemed like an eternity because I just wanted to see Anthony Hopkins play this role again. And I had heard he wanted to be involved, even though it was a prequel. I had these ideas then, well, if he's involved, maybe it'll be like a flash forward and a flashback. So maybe he'll be narrating, or maybe it'll show the events that take place after Hannibal, but then through relevant things that are taking place, we see flashbacks to what is now Hannibal Rising, and it's just him as a youth, really. It's him as a kid, and it gets into his entire backstory about why he does what he does, why he's a cannibal, what happened to his sister, his family, his upbringing, his felonious past, all of that stuff. They start to explain it, and it kind of demystifies him a bit. And that's kind of the case with any origin story. You tell too much about a character and their backstory, and it's not as fun. And so, I appreciated knowing all these things, but I didn't necessarily need it. I do feel that Hannibal is more mysterious and terrifying without that backstory. Like, why is he a cannibal? I don't know. He just is, and he targets very specific people. And they kind of get into that kind of stuff in Hannibal Rising, and whatever. It's fine. It is what it is. It's the final Hannibal movie that is out there. And it's a new actor plays him because it's, a young Hannibal Lecter. Can't think of the name of that actor, but I don't know, he did an okay job. I mean, he looks like Hannibal Lecter, just younger. There's some weird stuff going on. There's like the poster where he's got a mask kind of like this, but it's designed a different way. I don't know. It's fine. It's definitely not the best Hannibal movie, but it's the best we have for now. It's the most recent one. So then, we'll just move right past that one. So then, the next thing that happened was in 2013 that Hannibal began? I think it was 2013. But 2011, I kind of forget. I was watching it when it first came on, so maybe it was 2013 it ended. So I think 2011 is when Hannibal began on the TV. And so I was very skeptical going into this Hannibal show, because I was like, how are you going to have some other actor play Dr. Hannibal Lecter, and it's not Anthony Hopkins? I don't sign off on this at all. They cast Mads Mikkelsen, people. Mads Mikkelsen, who was the Bond villain in 007 Casino Royale. Like, wow. He does an amazing job. He is so, threatening as Hannibal Lecter. So cunning, and he just does an amazing job. Very different portrayal of Hannibal Lecter. And the first time I've never seen Hannibal with the slick back hair. He has a part. He has longer hair with a part. That was totally different. So it just gives you a different vibe with this particular character. And then they have Hugh, I believe Dancy is the name of the actor that plays Will Graham. So they go through that whole Red Dragon storyline for the third time on film now, but that is stretched out through an entire season. And it sounds like, you know, when they water down movies like that and stretch them into a season, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Usually it doesn't. Doesn't work for Scream. It did not work for From Dusk Till Dawn. It worked for this, though, because this is a very cleverly written show. Very well done. Very, very artful as well. Everything about this show, it just feels like a movie. It's so beautiful. The horror is framed in such a beautiful way. It's a weird dynamic, and I loved everything about this. So the show went on for 3 years. And there's a lot of back and forth between the relationship between Hugh Graham and Hannibal. And I'm just going to jump to the end here of how the series ends. It's one of the most memorable parts to me, that scene at the very end of the last episode, because there's this whole back and forth of like, oh, Will Graham wants to do the right thing, but Hannibal's his friend, and you know, there's that whole thing. And then at the end, when both of them are in trouble, they come together and they team up and they take down the threat together. And they once again become friends, and they hadn't been friends since really like season 1. And oh, what a fun and satisfying way to conclude that season. And then they kind of run off together, and it's like gonna lead into something else. It was definitely leading into what was gonna be a 4th season before it was unfortunately canceled. And that, what a crime. I still see every few weeks someone pipes up about how they really want Hannibal season 4. When is that going to happen? And you know what? I am all for it as well. We need that thing. So I think part of the reason that Hannibal season 4 did not happen is because this other show, Clarice, that they were talking about at the same time, they were like, oh, we want to do season 4 following the events of the Silence of the Lambs, but that's going to be difficult because we need the rights to Clarice, and we don't have the rights to Clarice. So it's this weird split thing where they own some of the characters but not all of them. I don't know. And so it turns out, they weren't able to get the rights to Clarice, and everything just kind of sat there and stalled. And yeah, maybe viewership was dropping off a bit. But all of these problems behind the scenes and trying to like get season 4 figured out and going legally was just going to be too expensive for the studio that was already kind of gambling with certain things. And so yeah, they pulled the plug, and that's really sad. But I guess the bright spot out of that is we did get this Clarice series, and it was showing on the CBS app. It took years for that to finally come out, but we did get it in this Clarice show. Now, this is the only thing I haven't actually seen from this franchise, so I can't really tell you if it's good or not. Apparently, it's good because people really wanted another season of it. Unfortunately, that was canceled after 1 season, and the show kind of like follows Clarice after the events of the Silence of the Lambs, and like she's famous, and you know, she took down Buffalo Bill, and like she's suffering with a little bit of like PTSD maybe, and trying to continue with her life and continue with her career, and there's all these other crimes that are taking place that she's trying to figure out. It sounds fascinating, honestly. I'm going to seek it out and try to watch it. Just 1 short season though. I usually don't like to watch shows that only had 1 season because it it feels like we're being cheated. You know, I like to have at least 3 seasons of a show, then it feels worthy of one's time, you know, but this might be a special circumstance because I just love Hannibal. But Hannibal's not in the Clarice show. I checked into that, and yeah, they don't own the rights to Hannibal for the Clarice show, and they don't own Clarice for the Hannibal show. Confusing, but you know, it would be good to just kind of see Clarice out there doing her thing. And so that's kind of the most recent Hannibal-related thing that has come out, is this Clarice. And so apart from that, there's a lot of Hannibal references in the Chucky movies and television series, because fun little fact, Don Mancini, the creator of Chucky, he was a writer on Hannibal the show. And then that led to him becoming a writer on Channel Zero for the Sci-Fi Channel. And then they turned over the keys to the studio for him to make Cult of Chucky. And then that led right into Chucky the television series. And that was also criminally cut short. That was also only 3 seasons. It's like all the best horror shows, they're just canceled after 3 seasons. Ash vs. Evil Dead, the same thing. I think one of the best adaptions of a film into a television series. Really fun, really well done. So that's kind of it for Hannibal, as far as I have from source material to pull from. So let me tell you why I love Hannibal Lecter so much. Not only is the performance just so intoxicating to watch, and it's so amazing. I mean, the guy has a statue to prove that he did something right with that performance. So let me show you how special Hannibal Lecter is to me, as he's been a part of my upbringing, my childhood, my everything. Let me show you the slideshow. Joink. Nope, I hit the wrong button. Okay, sting, joink. Okay. There we go. So, we're going to start with this. This is Halloween 2001. I got my Hannibal Lecter costume. I had way more hair. I'm in my 40s now, so it's unfortunate. That's what happens. But this is the exact same costume I'm wearing from back in 2001. Yeah, Hannibal came out in 2001. It was just the greatest thing in the world to me. I couldn't get enough of it. And I was like, I am going to be Hannibal Lecter for Halloween. I don't care what I have to do. Like, I'll make that mask myself if I have to. I don't know where I'm going to find it, but something needs to happen. And so, luckily in Duluth here, I was able to find the Hannibal mask and the straitjacket, and it's the very one I'm wearing now. And I was able to actually reuse this throughout the years for different projects. So let's look at the video here. Here we are. Here's me as basically a Hannibal Lecter type. This is the first film I ever made. This was a high school project I put together with a group of friends in high school. And I'm basically Hannibal Lecter, but for parody's sake, because this was kind of a scary movie ripoff, we called it Scary Spoofy, and this is again the exact same costume. The mask and everything, so my name was Animal Lecter in this, and the bad guy was named Scary Spoofy. All right, pause, and back to cam. So, hopefully I'll get a little bit more into that first film I made back in the day on an upcoming episode. I have an idea for that. Presuming I don't get canceled before that happens, it'll be a fun little thing to show you more clips from this parody movie I made back in 2002. We started production on it in 2001, like pre-production. I was writing the script and everything for all of my classmates, and then we started shooting on my birthday, 2002. Oh, it was amazing. And I got to play this Animal Lecter character and some other characters throughout. It was great. And so Hannibal's always been with me. What a fun character. He's a psychopath, but he's so cunning, and he's so well-spoken and so well-versed and well-traveled, and he seems like a really nice guy to just talk to, but don't get on his bad side, you know? He does seem like the kind of guy who would like to teach you something. So, anyway, that is my Hannibal Lecter episode here. Before we go, let me talk a little bit about what's to come. Well, tonight I'm invited to the Zeitgeist Duluth Film Fest. There's a premiere. Well, there was a premiere last night for Small Town Girl in town here. I wasn't able to attend that, but there'll be a screening up on the Iron Range that I will be going to tonight, and hopefully I'll be able to share my thoughts on that on an upcoming episode here. So very excited. Thank you very much for inviting me out to that, my friends. And then, so the Zeitgeist Film Fest was all in town all this weekend, so that was a fun thing. And then maybe I'll be able to talk a little bit about that coming up. But next week, I've got a pretty good idea of what I'm doing here, but I can't reveal anything as of yet. I'm getting a little bit of push and pull back and forth on what it's going to be, but pretty sure I'm settled on the specific idea. So that's the hope, that's the plan, and thanks for tuning in for this one, my friends. I'm going to go get my hair did now. I've been growing it long for like weeks for this particular episode. So now I'm going to get it cut short and then get ready for the film premiere. So thank you again for tuning in, my friends. Thank you for always putting up with me here. And yeah, until next time, my friends, stay spooky.